Most self-help is a lie. It tells you to deploy sheer force of will against your own bad behaviors. It commands you to grind harder, fight your urges, and manifest your dreams through brute force. But you've already tried that, and you've noticed the terrifying pattern. No matter how hard you push forward, an invisible hand eventually pulls you back to baseline. In 1960, plastic surgeon Maxwell Maltz called this your self-image thermostat, an automatic autopilot that regulates who you think you are. If you try to achieve a goal that sits outside your internal blueprint, your system will actively self-sabotage to protect its programming. Now we're going to learn how to take back control. To break the thermostat, willpower is completely useless. You don't need motivation. You need a system hack. Today, we are breaking open the human hardware. We are stacking the pure cybernetic engineering of Maxwell Maltz, the depth psychology of Carl Jung, and the raw psychological tech of Sigil creation to bypass your conscious filter and forcefully rewrite the software of your unconscious. Let's establish the foundational operating system. In his book Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz suggested that your subconscious mind is not a thinking entity. It is a literal servo mechanism. It is a goal-seeking machine, an organic autopilot identical in function to a heat-seeking missile or drone navigation system. It doesn't judge your inputs. IT doesn't reason. It simply tracks whatever target coordinate you program into it via your core identity. Let's establish the foundational operating system. In his book Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz suggested that your subconscious mind is not a thinking entity. It is a literal servo mechanism. It is a goal-seeking machine, an organic autopilot identical in function to a heat-seeking missile or a drone navigation system. It doesn't judge your inputs. IT doesn't reason. It simply tracks whatever target coordinate you program into it via your core identity. To understand how to hack this machine, you have to look at the literal definition of the word. Cybernetics comes from the ancient Greek kybernetes, meaning steersman or helmsman, the person navigating a ship. When scientists in the mid-20th century began building automated missile targeting systems, they modeled them entirely on this cybernetic loop of constant self-correction. Here is the secret that completely flips modern self-help on its head. A heat-seeking missile does not reach its target by being perfect. It reaches its target by failing forward. When a missile is launched, it doesn't fly in a perfectly straight line. It instantly overshoots to the left. Its internal cybernetic feedback loop recognizes this as an error, calculates the variance, and forces a course correction to the right. Then it overshoots to the right, registers a new error, and corrects back to the left. In pure cybernetics, misses are not bad. They are not signs of permanent failure or moral shortcomings. They are raw, essential data tokens. Every error correction provides the system with tighter numbers, narrowing the margin of error, until the autopilot achieves razor-sharp precision. Using an analogy, if your internal autopilot is currently programmed with the coordinate, "I am an uninspired, struggling creator," the machine takes that as an absolute directive. When you try to force yourself to produce great work, the servo mechanism reads your creative progress as the actual error, threatening your system's stability. It immediately fires its corrective thrusters, manifesting as procrastination, brain fog, or sudden creative paralysis to swing you right back to your designated baseline of failure. You cannot outrun the autopilot through behavior modification. If you want different outputs, you have to forcefully change the tracking data inside the machine. But why did our autopilot get programmed with such corrupted coordinates in the first place? Because while your conscious mind wants to be a successful creator, a massive, hidden partition of your psychological hard drive is actively voting for your restriction. Welcome to the Jungian shadow. Carl Jung famously stated, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Your psyche is split. Your conscious mind is merely the superficial user interface, but the shadow is the massive pool of repressed data, hidden fears, and protective childhood coding running beneath the surface. If you carry a hidden subconscious trauma that being seen makes me a target for criticism, or if I am highly successful, I will be exposed as an imposter, that is your shadow's active programming. When you attempt to use the cybernetic mechanics of Maltz's system to aim at a high-level goal, your shadow might view that target as an existential threat to your psychological safety. It panics, triggering the failure mechanism. To bypass this internal firewall, you must run a system error log scan. You must look directly at your self-sabotage and uncover what hidden agenda your failures are serving before you can successfully reroute the autopilot. Once you have uncovered the shadow's bugs, how do you plant a brand new, uncorrupted objective directly into the subconscious machine, completely bypassing the conscious ego and its walls of doubt? For this, we turn to a unique psychological software exploit with roots in occult grimoires dating back to the distant past. Sigil creation. We are going to dispense with any hierarchy and related dogma, and just focus on the mechanics of this process. For a very streamlined version of this, we will focus on the methodology espoused by 20th century artist and occultist Austin Osman Spare. A sigil is a desire or intent condensed into a highly stylized abstract geometric symbol. The process is completely mechanical, perfectly aligning with cybernetic theory. For example, you could write out a clear statement of intent in the present tense. I am a highly successful YouTube creator. You cross out all vowels and repeating letters, leaving a raw string of consonants. You arrange those remaining letters into a single abstract glyph, a symbol that your logical mind cannot read or recognize. You can combine these remaining letters by rotating them, overlapping them, stacking them, and aggressively stylizing them, altering their form until they cease to look like letters at all. Once your design is complete, you must spend a deliberate period of time completely concentrating on your creation. As you stare at the glyph, deeply anchor the original statement of intention in your mind, binding the memory of the sentence directly to the newly forged, unrecognizable symbol. Now you have a piece of pure code written in the native language of the subconscious machine, symbolism. To plant the sigil, it must be charged during a state of gnosis. Rooted in the ancient Greek word for direct experiential knowledge, gnosis in psychological and esoteric contexts refers to an altered state of consciousness. It is a state in which a person's critical, analytical mind is bypassed, leaving the nervous system wide open and the focus narrowed to a single point, idea, or symbol. To achieve this state, there are two paths available: inhibition and excitation. Inhibition. Gnosis looks like deep meditation, sensory deprivation, and absolute physiological stillness. Excitation. Gnosis sits at the exact opposite end of the spectrum, utilizing rhythmic chanting, ritualistic dance, and specific tantric yoga energy practices. Use your imagination to decipher my language choice here. We are choosing terms carefully to avoid any automated video platform sanctions. Both paths work to do the exact same thing. Lock your hyper-focused attention onto the selected intention of the sigil operation without activating the psychic sensor. That internal firewall that risks triggering the judgmental, analytical aspects of your conscious mind. Our entire goal is to bypass this sensor completely so the seed of your intention can be deeply implanted into the unconscious. It is in this exact hyper-focused state that you allow the abstract symbol to slip past the conscious sensor into the subconscious mind. But here is the critical rule of the exploit, and the exact place where most people fail. You must then completely forget the intent of the sigil. The conscious mind's doubt, overanalysis, and constant lust for results are the primary sources of system noise. If you obsess over the goal, you reactivate the psychic sensor, causing your conscious mind to reject the code before it can root. The psychological and Jungian bridge, bypassing the firewall. Spare's foundational breakthrough was his realization that symbols can reach deep layers of the psyche that ordinary language simply cannot touch. The unconscious mind does not process abstract vocabulary like success or growth. It speaks entirely in symbols, images, and sensory impressions. If this sounds familiar, it's because it mirrors Carl Jung's work on archetypes, dreams, and symbolic communication with the collective unconscious. Although Spare and Jung developed their ideas independently, they arrived at the same conclusion. The unconscious does not speak in language. It speaks in symbols. In fact, Spare's sigil work functions like a highly compressed, inverse form of Jung's famous active imagination technique. Both methods rely on symbols to bridge the gap between our waking awareness and the hidden depths of the psyche. However, they operate in completely opposite directions. Austin Osman Spare worked from the top down, consciously implanting a specific, conscious intent deep into the unconscious mind. Carl Jung worked from the bottom up, encouraging an open dialogue with the autonomous images and elements already bubbling up from the unconscious, dragging them into conscious awareness to be understood. Despite this tactical difference, the strategic bottleneck for both men was identical. You must bypass the psychic sensor. You have to drop the internal firewall of the critical, judgmental ego to allow the conscious and unconscious minds to successfully integrate. If you are already experimenting with Jungian concepts, active imagination, or shadow work to access your hidden programming, Spare's sigil protocol is one of the most elegant, practical techniques available. It sits right at the razor-sharp intersection of psychology, cybernetics, meditation, and Western magic. This brings us to the ultimate synthesis. If you must completely forget the explicit text of your sigil to prevent your conscious mind from sabotaging it, then how do you follow Maxwell Maltz's direction to practice daily visualization? The answer is that you do not visualize the mechanics, the words, or the milestones of the goal. Instead, you enter Maltz's theater of the mind to visualize the atmosphere of that intent. You feed the servo mechanism, the environmental data it needs to validate the sigil's hidden code. Maltz insisted that your nervous system cannot distinguish between a real physical experience and a vividly imagined psychological simulation. To execute this properly, you must practice his exact, high-fidelity visualization protocol for 15 consecutive minutes every day. Bypass the conscious gatekeeper. Physical de-escalation. Sit or recline comfortably in a quiet space. Intentionally relax every muscle group from your forehead down to your jaw, shoulders, and hands. You must achieve a state of physical immobility. Note the deep similarity to the inhibition Gnostic state mentioned earlier. This puts you into a relaxed mental state and inhibits the psychic sensor. Build the high-fidelity environment. Sensory density projection. Close your eyes and project a massive cinema screen in your mind. Do not focus on your goal's metrics or the symbol you created. Instead, place your attention inside the room after the transformation is already fact. Construct the scene with intense sensory density by employing all of your 5 senses. Notice the specific texture of your desk, how you feel sitting in your chair, the exact quality of light coming through the window, and the faint hum of your computer. Capture the somatic feedback. Neurological weighting. Focus entirely on the emotional and physical reality of your new self-image. Feel the profound weight of calm confidence in your chest. Experience how your posture naturally adjusts when you are no longer operating from scarcity, and how effortlessly you create when your identity is clear. You are generating raw synthetic training data for your autopilot. By focusing on this supportive background atmosphere, you leave the planted seed of the sigil completely undisturbed in the deep unconscious. You aren't constantly digging it up to check if it's growing. Instead, you leave the germinated seed your sigil created alone and focus on the soil's growing conditions. This advanced visualization technique forces your self-image thermostat to recalibrate. Because your servo mechanism is being flooded with high-fidelity sensory data every day, it assumes this new state of being is your current physical reality. Suddenly, your baseline shifts. The successful implantation of the sigil begins updating your self-image across entirely unexpected domains, automatically accelerating your discipline, dissolving your social anxieties, and altering how you speak, write, and present your ideas to the world. Your Jungian shadow stops fighting your progress because the atmospheric visualization proves to your nervous system that this upgraded identity is entirely safe. The machine is no longer divided against itself. The bug is cleared from your shadow. The code is planted by the sigil. The tracking coordinates are locked in by your daily visualization. Update your software. Run the system.